Champions for Hire.
I 100% believe that contributed to me getting hurt. I have used sticky stuff before. Your favorite pitcher probably 50 years ago was using something too. In the past, my substance of choice is sunscreen and rosin. Just nothing egregious, something to where I can get a grip on the ball. So 2 starts ago against the Nationals, I went cold turkey, nothing. I don't use sticky stuff I don't use spider tack. I don't need more spin. I have huge hands. I spin the ball fine. I want grip. I did well against the Nationals, probably one of the best starts I had all year. My cue I used to use with Snyder was hold the ball like an egg, nice and loose, be loose. That's out of the window. And I go into my start yesterday, and that same feeling it pops or whatever the hell happened to my elbow. I feel it. Something happens. And I'm not trying to blame anyone. I'm not trying to say this is all MLB's fault. They got thrown into this situation too. They're doing the best they possibly can to navigate around this. They're trying to make this fair for people. Whether you want us to not use sticky stuff or not is fine. Fine. Do it in the off season. Give us a chance to adjust to it. But I just threw 80 something, 70 whatever innings, and then you just told me I can't use anything in the middle of the year. I had to change everything I've been doing the entire season. Everything out of the window. I have to start doing something completely new. And then I'm telling you, I truly believe that's why I got hurt.
Welcome back to GMs for Hire. I'm Matthew Perry, and what you just heard was from Tyler Glasnow's press conference earlier today in regards to the injury he suffered last night against the Chicago White Sox in his start, where he tore his right UCL. This will set him back months. He's decided to undergo rehab rather than undergoing Tommy John surgery, so he could hopefully miss less time. But that's if the rehab works out. And this is big news. This is the ace of the Tampa Bay Rays, of course. Big news not only for the injury, but the timing of the injury, because today the MLB released their memo today regarding foreign substances for pitchers. And obviously for the longest time, it's been kind of an unwritten rule, but never enforced by umpires. Pitchers have been using sticky stuff, their own personal combinations, the most common being sunscreen and rosin, which, as you heard, Tyler Glasnow said he used. And it was okay, technically. It was never disciplined against. Obviously, if an umpire saw a pitcher using too much of it, they were disciplined. One of the most famous examples of recent memory would be Michael Pineda back against the Red Sox years ago, where he had the pine tar on his neck. He got ejected from that game. It was very obvious, and should have been disciplined against. But there's a big debate going on about this because Tyler Glasnow got injured using nothing. As you heard, he said he went cold turkey against the Nats. He felt a lot of pain. He did it yesterday against the White Sox, and now he has a torn UCL. I have my own opinion on this, of course. I think Major League Baseball is wrong for implementing this in the middle of the season. Pitchers are creatures of habit. They go out there with the same game plan every game when it comes to how they're using their mechanics and how they are moving out there. Their bodies are important, and each movement can affect where a pitch goes, how fast it comes in, spin rate, stuff like that. And many pitchers were using, most famously now, spider tack, which is this adhesive, I guess I'll call it. And it is very sticky stuff, I'll say that, just from what I've seen on Twitter and everything. And that stuff shouldn't be in the game. There's no place for that. But that's more for RPMs, more for spin rates, which Glasnow said he doesn't need. He's got big hands. That's not something you really need for that. It's grip. It's sweaty out there. It's humid. It's hard to hold on to a ball. And as these balls keep changing every year, whether they're juiced or dead or whatever Rob Manfred wants to do with the baseballs, they keep continuously changing. So the pitchers have to continue to adapt to the new ball. And that's just how they cope with it. Sunscreen and rosin is a very common mixture used by Major League Baseball pitchers. And now in this new memo, that along with spider tack, along with any pine tar really, and any other combination you could think of, chocolate syrup, maple syrup, whatever you're putting on that ball and on your hands, can't be used. It's going to result in a 10-day suspension, not game, day suspension with pay, although they'll be fined. They will still receive their game pay for it. And I believe if they are a multiple offender, it can get worse. How the umpires will enforce it, I don't know, but that starts on June 21st. Today is the 15th, so 6 days, almost a week for, I guess, I'm guessing this is for umpires to learn the official rules and kind of get ready to practice it and implement it in games. This changes baseball, man. This definitely changes baseball. Not only because it's a possible injury risk for a pitcher. I do 100% agree with Glasnow that this could be linked to him changing how he throws the baseball, what he uses. Because yeah, if you get in the habit of doing something and all of a sudden the next day you just don't do it, it feels kind of weird, right? If I go to work 10 days in a row and I'm off the 11th day, it feels kind of weird being home because you've gotten into the groove of going to work and doing something. And I think this is how Glasnow and a lot of these pitchers are going to feel because for so long I don't want to say it's been legal, but it hasn't been illegal to use foreign substances, especially the basic sunscreen and rosin, and now they have to go to not using it at all or being very very secretive about it because now even the rosin bags have to be inspected with the baseballs in the lineup swapping and the umpire meeting before the game when the managers meet by home plate, and that's kind of weird. That's interesting because you don't want, I guess they don't want substances mixed in with the rosin. I don't think that's ever been properly checked before. Maybe the umpire comes out, looks at it while it's already on the mound, but I've never seen a rosin bag brought to the home plate meeting. It changes things a lot. A lot of pitchers are unhappy. Batters are mixed reactions. Some are claiming that this finally puts them on an even playing field, but have pitchers been on an even playing field? Or has it been fair to the pitchers when the balls were juiced last year? I know they're different now, but averages league wide were down, and then since news came out about it a week or two ago, league averages are up because I guess pitchers are stopping doing it, and it really is helping. But it's going to be interesting. Will injuries actually rise? Glasnow is one example, but until we see a couple more, I know a couple big names, Shane Bieber, Max Scherzer, they also went on the DL or the IL, I'm sorry, this morning, but I don't think they were linked to anything like that. They haven't said it was linked. I know Shane Bieber's was some soreness, and Scherzer's was a groin. So the groin, I wouldn't say any credit to the sticky stuff, but it changes a lot. And I saw someone on Twitter bring up something that I didn't even think of. The CBA, I believe, expires in this offseason, and discourse among rules. I mean, not only Manfred being a terrible commissioner, the way he's handled this, the way he's handled the balls, and everything else has been very, very subpar, and you'd expect better out of a professional. But the Players Association will have a lot of requests and a lot of things they need to talk out amongst themselves this offseason when it's time for a new CBA. It wouldn't shock me if we saw a strike in the offseason, unfortunately. As bad as that sounds, there are plenty of problems in baseball that need to be figured out. I don't know how minor league baseball players play into working on a CBA because I think the MLB and the MILB are two different things when it comes to those. But baseball itself, there's an issue in the minor leagues. I think I should mention it just because it came up today. The Bowie Bay Sox, the minor league team for the Baltimore Orioles, their AA affiliate, apparently a couple of their guys were supposed to be sleeping in cars tonight. Pay for the minors, only making 500 a week, some of them, and the team hotel, it adds up. And when you have a homestand at the team hotel, that could add up to probably almost 80% of your check. And you can't live off of that. You can't live off of that. I work at a car dealership and I'm making almost as much as they are as baseball players. And kids look up to that job. Little do those kids know you might be struggling for a while. And I think luckily, since it was brought to Twitter, people were able to figure stuff out for that. And I don't think any Bay Sox have to be sleeping in their cars tonight, luckily, but it's definitely a big problem around baseball worth mentioning just for a second, and definitely something that needs to be figured out if possible, because that's unreal. That's almost inhumane for a dream job, a baseball player, an athlete, any job really. That's not fair. So hopefully they're able to figure that out. More on the substances. This definitely changes things. We'll see how pitcher performance is, if ERAs go up, if pitchers just aren't locating how they used to. We've already seen some spin rates go down among some players. It really depends on what pitches you throw, because some guys with a nasty curveball, their spin rates are down, but some who aren't really a big breaking ball guys like Lance Lynn, all fastballs and cutters and changeups. His spin rates haven't seemed to be affected, among a few other guys, league wide. But like many pitchers have said, at least 90% of the league is using something for grip, not necessarily spider tack, which I think should be taken out of the game. I think that's a little too far. But the sunscreen and rosin, I mean, it's something every pitcher seems to be comfortable with. I really don't think that's a problem, and I think that's a good compromise Major League Baseball could come to. Let them use this sunscreen and rosin. There's no guarantee, I guess, checking to see exactly what it is, but day games you should be able to use sunscreen. I mean, that's a health thing at that point. Within the memo today, it was like in closed stadiums and once games turn to night, you can no longer wear sunscreen, which logically makes sense. So that I can't really hate on because I guess it's weird if you're using sunscreen indoors at night, like Glasnow would have been last night at the Trop. But for grip, it helps. It really helps. And for pitcher and hitter safety, anyone saying that this helps the hitter's safety, I think that was in a statement from MLB. That's ridiculous. That's completely ludicrous. You lose control. We've already seen guys get hit in the face. Kevin Pillar got plunked right between the eyes almost just a couple weeks ago. Luckily, he made a very quick recovery. But not everyone's so lucky. Giancarlo Stanton, seasons ago, fractured a couple of orbital bones. He was out for weeks on end. He might have been out for the season, I think. Obviously, he came back and he's fine now, but these aren't things you want happening often. These are gruesome injuries, and having pitchers struggle with the grip on a ball, I can only imagine that's going to make the percentage of that happening a little higher, and that's just not safe for the players, and it makes the pitchers look bad, and that's not fair. I think there needs to be some kind of compromise. I think the sunscreen and rosin is just fine. Leave that how it is. Make sure the spider tack's out of the game because that stuff shouldn't be in baseball. I don't even know what you would use that for. If you look up spider tack and a video of that in use, it is so extremely sticky. And I'm sure I feel like the MLB players have to water it down a little bit at least just to make sure they can move their fingers because this stuff is unreal and it has no place in this game. I want to know how spider tack got its origins in baseball, but because I think that'd be interesting. But yeah, for decades now, pitchers have been using stuff. They got rid of the spitball, but the spitball helped put movement on the ball, I guess how spider tack would. Sunscreen and rosin, though, no problem for that in the game. I hope they can come to a compromise. I do not want to strike in the offseason, so I hope Manfred and Major League Baseball can make things right somehow. I feel real bad for Glasnow, whether this is because of the changes or not. I wish him a full recovery, and hopefully he's able to make the rehab. No Tommy John and be around for the playoffs because Glasnow is good for baseball and he's good for the Rays. He's their ace and they need him. Top of the league right now. You don't want that to falter. So big ups to Glasnow. Let's get him back on the field and let's hope no batters get hit in the face. Let's hope pitchers are still able to control stuff for the time being. And let's hope no pitchers get real big 10-day suspensions because you don't want that to negatively affect your team, whether it's your ace or even a bullpen guy. You don't want that on your plate. Overall, this memo doesn't do good for baseball yet. If they can clean it up a little bit, cut the pitchers some slack, maybe it can do some good. Getting spider tack out will do some good. I can assure you of that. But there's got to be levels to this. There has to be some kind of compromise. So hopefully next time I speak of this on our channel, it'll be talking about a compromise. But for now, best wishes to Tyler Glasnow. And for GMs for Hire, I've been Matthew Perry. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.